Hey everybody, it's Kanesha from boldlivingtoday.com and welcome back Bold Thinkers to Wednesday Club. And if you're new here, welcome to Wednesday Club. And what exactly is Wednesday Club? Well, it's Wednesday, of course. Hey everybody. But club stands for creativity, learning and successfully navigating life transitions, untangling from things that keep us small and building and amplifying our boldness. So this is my, weekly time to connect with people who I don't see often or who I don't work with on an individual and one-to-one basis. So I'm so excited you can join me today. And I just want to thank everybody for the feedback over the last 6 episodes, because today is the 7th episode, and it's just been really fun to hear your reactions and get your feedback and see how I can support you in addition to the tools, the materials, the coaching, the workshops, but just to be able to connect in a different way. And I know we're all in this super digitized time in our life, and then people are really hungry and wanting and craving additional connections with people. So I was glad that some colleagues and friends kind of pushed me to do this, because it's been really, really fun and I like showing up each week. So it's been a good Wednesday so far. I went walking with my mom's walking group. And as I mentioned before, we've been walking together since our kids were like in 2nd or 3rd grade, and now they're in 7th grade. So it's really nice to connect with those ladies. And I've been spending a lot of time this month in October, spending time with friends, doing a lot of writing projects, planting seeds. I don't have a lot of live events going on during the month of October, and that's just kind of like typically my schedule with my business with Bold Living Today. And I often use October as the month to plant seeds and get ready for the new calendar year, and just slow it down a little bit and get myself in the proper alignment so I can continue to support and help my bold thinking community. So one thing that keeps coming up and that I'm hearing a lot amongst my own friends, I'm seeing it on talk shows, and I'm hearing other people talk about it in regards to their teenagers and their college age kids. Like, October is that time of year where you experience this kind of slump. You feel like things are slowing down, you feel like you're slowing down, or you feel like you don't want to even get revved up about things. You kind of want to slow down. You feel like you can't get motivated to get up and going. And, it's kind of like a slumpy time of year. And I totally get that. We just had a full moon on Sunday. It's getting to the point where we're going to have daylight savings end, and we're going to be falling black, like putting our clocks back an hour. Not everybody does that, but a lot of us have to do that come early November. It's getting colder. You kind of want to stay in bed longer because the sun's not up right when you wake up, and a host of other things that might make you feel like you're in a slump. And I find that with my individual clients, that I'm still working with this month, and then, just colleagues, solopreneurs, people who are their own bosses. And, it's boss day, by the way, so happy boss day. But people who are their own bosses, or work alone, or work with small teams, when the energy shifts like that, it kind of affects everybody, because you all are feeding off each other. And, I know this is a critical time for people to have really good self-love habits in place, because self-rejection can swoop in there really swiftly when you're feeling like you can't get motivated or stay motivated, or you can't get as much done as you were in different months or different times of the calendar year. And one of the pieces of self-rejection that really, really gets a hold of people, and it's hard for them to get out of it, is when they start the comparison cycle, when they really start seeing what other people are doing and say, why can't I just be like Joe Bob and get everything done and always be motivated and always be going, and you really don't even know what's going on internally for Joe Bob and how he or she are managing that. Like, you don't even know what's going on with them. And so, when I've been talking to people, when I'm talking to myself about being in a slump, or, I've been talking to my college age daughter about being in a slump, she's just like, oh, she texted me today. I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for this, but I don't think it's too revealing, but she texted me today, and I'm like, good morning, Pookie, how you doing? And, she's like, oh, it's good. It's a little gray out. I need to get going and I need to leave in 5 minutes and I'm still in bed. And I'm like, well, give yourself a really good hug and then just get going. And so, I'm going to talk about some things that you can think about and or do and add this to your bold toolkit for getting out of the slump and supporting yourself through the slump, not berating yourself, not rejecting yourself, but, having more self-compassion, more realistic expectations of yourself, and having the right tools just to navigate it all. I mean, you can't be motivated all the time. It's just not realistic to keep that level of energy going all the time. You need some time to stop and refuel. It's just who we are, and that's how it works. So, let's see, I'm looking at my notes here because I have a lot of fun things written down because I get so excited. So getting out of the slump, October is a big transitional season. Autumn is really in full effect. There's a lot of seasonal things that are shifting and changing. Even living in Northern California, where we really don't have a lot of seasons, there is a shift. We should feel the shift. Oh, what's Vanessa saying? Oh, yeah, Vanessa. I always have to encourage your little sis because she's trying to do big and bold things. And so I'm the big cheerleader always with her. Thanks for that. So yeah, one thing I want to say is when you feel like you're in a slump, just acknowledge it. Like you need to just say, oop, I feel that I'm in a slump. Acknowledge it, name it. You might want to give it a name. It's like, oh, I see you there, Herman. You're here for that seasonal slump that I get in. And just know that you know what's going on with you, because sometimes we'll get in a slump and we're like, I just don't know what I'm feeling or why I'm feeling this way. It's probably the slump. So acknowledge your slump. Don't keep pushing, don't keep grinding, don't keep hustling, but acknowledge that slump and acknowledge that it's here. And then you're going to decide what you want to do to handle it and manage it. You're not weaker than anybody else because you're in a slump. There's nothing wrong with you. For a lot of people, if you feel like you're in a slump, that's a really good time to reach out to your healthcare professionals and get support and get the right tools in that way, because there might be something going on that's more medically related. So that's a whole nother level of things. But today we're just talking about the mindset side of it. But definitely acknowledge it. The other thing you should do if you are in a slump is to talk about it. You can tell people you're in a slump. You're probably not alone in it. I mean, even when my really good girlfriend that I do a lot of collaborations with and, that we spend a lot of time together, she's like, I am just not feeling my normal get up and go. And then I just listened to her and she just got a chance to talk about it. And, I hugged her and I just said, don't go so fast. Keep going, but just don't go as fast as you were going in September or August or whatever the case may be. I love talking to my mom. I talk to her probably a couple times a day because we have all these little mini talks, like if I'm in the minivan and I call her and to check in and things like that. And because she's my mom and because she's my super cheerleader and because she wants to take good care of me, even as a 47-year-old woman, she is always in fixer problem solving mode. So when I just want to talk about what's going on, when I want to talk about I'm struggling with something or I'm feeling like I'm in a slump, I have to tell her that. I have to prepare her for that type of conversation. And I usually have to say, hey, Mom, I'm calling you. I need a soft place to land. I want to tell you what's going on. And for her, that's the signal that I just really want to be listened to. I want the full attention on what I'm saying. I don't want a tip. I don't want a tool. I don't want a book to read. I don't want her to come up here and get anybody. I just want a soft place to land for her to talk to me and, to support me in that way, in hearing what's going on with me. So talk about it if you're feeling like a slump and let people know, or that person know that, I just want somebody to listen to me and to listen to me actively. And so I feel heard. And so I feel nourished in that aspect. So acknowledge it, talk about it. And I'm going to say this, journal about it. I'm a huge journaler. I journal every morning. In the Bold Living Today community, we have journal prompts for each day of each month. I'll put a link to that in the video notes. So if you missed the prompts for October, you can look at those and journal about it. And, just get your thoughts out, whatever you're feeling about your slump, however you're feeling about getting your work done, your tasks done, interacting with people, interacting with yourself, making it to your workout, like whatever you need to let out of your brain so that you don't feel constantly inundated or overwhelmed or just, onslaught of thoughts all the time, just like all in here, write that down in your journal. And another thing I always tell people to pair with journaling is aromatherapy. I love my diffuser. I love my essential oils. I have 2 diffusers. I keep one in like the kitchen dining room area, and I keep one in my bedroom. And I just go to my local supermarket. There's the ones that typically have like a natural section where you can buy supplements and stuff like that. And there's tons of essential oils out there, so I don't have a specific one to recommend. I'm not an expert in that, but I do like the ones that already have a blend, and the blend might be energy, or the blend might be calm, or the blend might be, relaxation. So I already like to buy the essential oils already blended for the particular mood or essence or vibe I'm trying to set. And so, typically the oils, the blend that I have in the diffuser that's in my bedroom is relaxation. That is my relaxation area. And even when I wake up in the morning and you want a burst of energy and to get going, I like the smell of that relaxation, because I don't want to start my day just full throttle if I don't have to. I like to ease into it and take my time getting into it. So, if you're journaling, get that diffuser going, and really use that as a way to help you navigate your slump, to boost your mood before you have to get going and tackle the things that are ahead of you, or to deal with things that are ahead of you. And I suppose if you're in a slump, you don't want to tackle everything. You probably want to just have some purposeful planning around doing it and getting it done. So journaling and aromatherapy, I think, are really great tools to help you navigate your slump and get out of it and see yourself on the other side. The other thing I think you should do, and I think we should do this all the time, but specifically if you're in a slump, you need to make a list. And the type of list you need to make is a stop doing list. You need to make a list of all the things right now in this slump, in this moment, in this week, in this day, whatever the case may be. You need to make a stop doing list. If you need to stop making the dinners all the time because it's, pushing you further into a slump, then maybe you need to negotiate that with your family, with your partner, with your spouse. If you need to stop doing a particular exercise class or exercise community because that particular group of people, they don't fill you up, they don't motivate you, you're feeling depleted after you're done with it right now during your slump, then find a different class. Stop doing that. If you need to stop watching the news because it's depressing you, like, I still want to be informed, I still want to know what's going on, then you need to stop watching the news for an hour. Maybe watch it only for 30 minutes. So making a stop doing list, things that, are taxing to you, things that zap your energy, things that make you feel less creative, things that get in the way of you taking care of yourself, you need to let those go during your slump. So definitely make your list of things to stop doing, a stop doing list. It'll be amazing how that stuff just bubbles out and you'll be like, oh, I really need to stop doing these things. The next thing I suggest you do, and this kind of goes in tandem with the stop doing list, is to practice the art of subtraction. As high achievers, as bold thinkers, as, people who are out in the world really trying to make a space for ourselves, support our families, support our communities, just show up every day. We have a lot of energy, a lot of output that's going out, and, it's a lot, and we constantly pile extra things on without taking things off. So if this is the time of year, this particular month, this particular season, you're experiencing your slump, then you need to practice the art of subtraction. Start taking off things that you don't have to do right now, or you don't have to do this week, or you don't have to do ever. Trust other people to support you. Get the right bold entourage around you so that you can focus on the things that really matter right now, the things that haven't landed on the stop doing list, the things that are going to help you refuel, the things that are going to nurture you, the things that are going to minimize stress and overwhelm. So practicing the art of subtraction is really tough for a lot of us. I mean, I struggle with this because, I like doing things. I like being involved. I like my voice being heard. I like supporting other people, but we can't do those things at the detriment of ourselves. The whole idea or the whole message around putting your oxygen mask on first before you help someone else. I mean, this plays directly into the art of subtraction. Sometimes we just have to, be okay with doing less because that's the best at this time. So practicing the art of subtraction. The next thing I think is super, super important, I do this periodically, except for business, but in my personal side of my life, is go on a social media fast. Fast from social media. I hear so many times from my clients or from teens or for people supporting their teens or even, just other friends and stuff like that, how certain accounts on social media, certain people they follow or people they see in their community or whatever, make them feel bad. I mean, I keep hearing the terminology around having, Instagram depression or, social media FOMO and all these different things, which takes a toll on people's mindsets. And especially if you're in a slump, you just don't want that energy. That's not what's for you. So, some people can, they have enough with strength and willpower, if you will. Willpower, I just think sometimes puts undue pressure. But some people can really be disciplined about just, detaching from their phone, their mobile devices, or their accounts on their computers and not be on social media. It's more challenging for other people, and that's okay. That doesn't mean that they're weaker. We all are excelling in different areas. We're all bold in different areas. But I say, use those unfollow, the mute, the take a 30-day break, whatever those tools are. If there are certain accounts, certain people who are making your slump worse, then just take a break from them. You could take a break from going on social media altogether. Maybe you only allow yourself a 10-minute little peek and set a timer so that you honor that commitment to fast. Maybe you're only on it for an hour, whatever the case may be. When I go on my social media fast, other than my work things that I need to do, connecting with my community, responding to people who are inquiring about different things or want my support, or doing my Wednesday broadcast, I only go on, I post what I need to post specific to that, and I wait until a certain period of the day to go back on and do the responses. And then other than that, I won't go on social media. I won't go on my personal Facebook or my personal Instagram or anything like that. And, I write about it in my journal. I track my mood. I see how I'm feeling, if it's helping, if it's making my slump, a little bit easier to navigate, or if I just tend to have more time to focus on self-care. Maybe it's doing more journaling. Right now I'm into doing watercolor paintings, which is really relaxing to me. I mean, last night when I was watching the Democratic presidential debates, I didn't want to get stressed out about it. So, I just put up the easel and did some painting while I watched. And I'm not an artist that way, but I'm doing a little something. So, it's just something to relax me instead of being on my phone, instead of doing social media, instead of always checking in. So going on a social media fast might be something that will help you during your slump. And these are just suggestions. I'm not saying you need to do all these things to navigate your slump. Something might speak more directly to you, and I say go with that. That's totally okay. And the last thing I think is really important if you're going through a slump is to, focus on your self-love habits, your wellness habits, if you will, if you don't like the term self-love, and do things that boost it. So that might be, eating better, taking a break from certain foods. And I'm not saying a diet, but, we could all eat a little bit more fruits and vegetables. I mean, that goes for all of us. Sleeping a little bit more, maybe going to sleep half hour, 20 minutes earlier in the evening. Doing something creative. I mentioned my watercolors. That's just so super fun. And I have a friend right now who is going through some health treatments. And so we like to check in with each other. I introduced her to these watercolor crayons that my mother-in-law introduced me to, so it's not so messy and it's not a big setup. And so we check in with each other through text about our artwork. So it's a nice way for us to connect while she is not able to see people, but also while she's in treatment, in a way to create and get her out of her slump. So it's been really fun to work on that with her. So, eating better, sleeping more, creating, and, scheduling time to do nothing. Sitting outside, looking at the leaves change, the colors change, sitting outside, watching the squirrels play, whatever, sitting on your couch, just being in your house, maybe having that diffuser going, scheduling time to do nothing. And I know there's always this suggestion that people take time off work, and that's realistic for some of us. I'm my own boss. I work for myself. When I decide I want to take time off, I could just talk to myself, hey, Kanesha, should we take a day off? yeah, girl, we should take a day off. But if that's not your case, it's not your reality. If you have personal days or sick days you can use them if you're not using them for something else that's a little bit more critical. But gift yourself at that time off. If you can't take a whole day, take an hour. You know, sometimes just that little time to do nothing can be so nourishing and so fulfilling when we are feeling like we're in a slump and just can't do one other thing. And the other thing I would say, going back to the eating piece, when I'm feeling challenged, and I've talked about this when we had the episode about decision making fatigue, like, ooh, it stresses me out to get dinner ready sometime. And when I'm in my slump mode, or when it gets a little bit chillier here where I live, which is, I mean, like 55 degrees, is California. But, I really, really get into using my crock pot because it's just so easy to put everything in there. And then the house is smelling all good while I'm working at home. So then it smells like somebody's in the kitchen cooking for me. Food smells good. I don't know. I know I won't have to worry about dinner later. And that's a comfort when I'm feeling like a slump. It's just one less thing to do. There's so many great slow cooker recipes out there. And in my holiday guide, I will be talking about some of my favorite ones that are super easy and super simple to use during November and December, and basically whenever you want. But yeah, definitely comfort food. So yeah, those are some suggestions that I have. If you feel like you're in a slump right now, it's real. You got to acknowledge how you feel. It happens to all of us, and it's okay. It's not a bad thing, but definitely take care of your inner wellness. Get the support that you need from people around you, from your medical professionals, from your coaches, from your BFFs. Get that support. Take some breaks. Give yourself some time to refuel and just regenerate, and be okay with the progress you make at your own pace. You don't have to keep up with everybody. That's one thing in adulting that we're told all the time. And we tell our kids, our teens, they don't have to keep up with everybody, but then they see us doing the exact opposite. Because, a lot of times they're like doing what we do and not exactly what we say. So we have to be good models for ourselves and also for the people around us. So I would love to hear, from you, like if you're in a slump or if you have navigated a recent slump or a past slump, like what did you do to get yourself out of it? What tools did you use? What support structures did you create? What did you learn about yourself? I'd love to hear about it. In the show notes for this episode, I will have links to some of the things that I mentioned, like the self-love habits. All the information comes directly from the Self-Love Playbook for Bold Thinkers. The information about self-rejection, that also comes directly from the Self-Love Playbook for Bold Thinkers. And I also have a self-paced online course around that, the Self-Rejection Detox workshop. And I'll also tell you some of the things that I'm reading right now. I just got a bunch of books from the library. That's one thing that I love to do if I'm in a slump. I just sometimes I'll go sit in the library and, read books that they have on display, or I'll just go get a big stack of books about journaling, or books about crafting, or books about slow cooker recipes, or entertaining. I love books like that, and it's kind of like my way to nest. I read through them. I'm not doing all those things, but it does motivate me in some level, and gets me out of my slump and helps my creativity. So thanks for joining me today. I'll be back next week, next Wednesday at 12 p.m. Pacific time. We're getting closer to the holiday season, so we'll have some modifications in the schedule. And of course, I will announce that ahead of time, so you will see what the scheduling will look like for Wednesday Club. So have a great day, everybody. Happy autumn. Happy Boss Day. I also think it's Dictionary Day, so let your word for today be bold, or, whatever you want. But, boldness is for all of us. So I will see you next time. Thanks.